Hello everyone, I'm Carrie Pena alongside auctiontainer and host Letitia Fry, and we want to welcome you to this special Stomping the Divots virtual event. We have a powerful show lined up. Over the next hour, we will meet the horses that make Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding the magical place that it is, share stories about lives being transformed, and tell you how you can be a part of this mission by making a donation live tonight or at a later date. If there is something you think you can't do right now because the circumstances are too challenging, wait until you meet some of the participants and riders who overcome obstacles every single day. Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding is empowering ability. Thank you to the sponsors who pivoted with us to make this show possible. Because of your generosity, hope and healing through equine therapy will continue to grow. And special thanks to Bank of Jackson Hole, Kismet Fine Rugs, Paul Von Gontard and the Melody Hereford Ranch, Vine Connections, and the Remkowski family. And to everyone watching, thank you for supporting this cause. Stomping the Divots to benefit Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding has been going strong for 18 years. Here's a look now at some of the highlights of this incredible event.
And welcome everyone. I love those memories because I've had a chance to be part of Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding and Stomping the Divots for over 8 years now. My name's Letitia Fry. I am known as your auctiontainer and normally would be in a tent with everyone in Jackson Hole. And although we cannot get together this year in person, that did not stop us from this year what we have lovingly said, pivot, not divot. So here's what you can expect over the next hour, and thank you for joining us, all of you. For one, there's a couple things that are going to happen here today that are going to be immediately happening and ending here on this program. The rest are going to go through Sunday. But first, let's start out by just talking about the best way that you can enjoy this program. For one, we don't want you leaving this live screen, so there's a couple things you're going to want to need. I hope that you actually kicked back, got your favorite beverage, got your favorite snack, went ahead and maybe if you're my age, got your readers, your credit card out, anything that would make this totally seamless and fun for the next hour plus. But most importantly, I also want you to remember that there's a few things that are going to actually happen live here, and you're going to need that cell phone more than anything else. Our dear friends at GiveSmart, and today that's Lisa, is going to be sending out text to you during certain parts of this program that make it really easy to give off your phone so you don't leave this live stream with us. And P.S., notice how I just said live? Yeah, no notes, totally live. You never know what'll happen, except that all of it will be passionate and come from my heart. So here are the things that are a matter for you today. That raffle that we sent out a text earlier today that the raffle would stop at 4 o'clock. Well, guess what? So many of you have been purchasing, we decided to leave it open until 6:45 Mountain Time. Remember, everything's happening on Mountain Time because Jackson Hole's in the mountains. So 6:45, our about 15 minutes before we close this show, you're going to have to be able to keep purchasing those raffle tickets. So what are they? First of all, John and Susan Moore. Susan's been with us for a long time. Thank you for giving your incredible condominium in Key West for 4 people for an entire week. That's one prize. The other one is an opportunity for you to actually go and pick from 5 Mexico destinations, with 2 of you going to 4 or 5-star resorts, whether that's Puerto Vallarta, Nueva Vallarta, Acapulco, Cabo, or Cancun. Now, if you don't win those, don't worry. The things that don't expire today are our live auction items, our silent auction items, and our buy it now. If you don't win one of those trips that I just told you about, if you go to buy it now all the way through Sunday, you can get a trip to Scottsdale or a trip to Mexico for just $2,500. So here's a couple other things. There's a live auction going on, and normally I'd be chanting, but this time I'm not. So we're gonna visit it real quick. I just saw a bid come in on what is probably one of the most unique things for those of you that are sailing fans. That's right, the America's Cup. Dennis Conner, one of the most famous sailors in the world, his USA 11, his incredible sailboat. It's a trip for 4 nights and 5 days to the Hyatt Grand Manchester down in San Diego with airfare and, yes, a 3-hour tour. Not quite Gilligan's Island style, but you'll get to go out, and whether you want to work the jib and actually be a part of it or just sit back, it's there. We just got a bid at $3,000. That's close to a $6,000 trip. After that, a Peloton. That's right, the most popular thing probably to come out of COVID is the in-home exercise and the membership that comes with Peloton. That's the bike and the membership. It's currently at about $2,000, and just to get one, we've cost you over $3,000. After that, personally my favorite, and that would be to go to the wine country, to the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn, 2 nights, 3 days of IRA bidding. That would be my trip. So, and you also have a chance to have what I call the 5-hour tour in a Mercedes sedan going through all of the wineries. And then finally also our dear friend Judith Dragonette. There's also a trip to Mexico, and just so you know, all these trips I keep talking about, they're all good through March of 2022. So don't worry, because as we all move through this adverse time, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to need a vacation at some point and some bonding time with friends and family. Now, in addition to that, Judith Dragonette, probably one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. This is an incredible 30 by 30 painting of which she's known. You know, she usually uses her hands, and she uses a stick and paint, and this is called Mustang. And let me tell you, in her galleries, her 2018 show, which was in the Turner Gallery, Jackson Hole, she's a legend. But she's actually a legend for being the most incredible volunteer for Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding. Judith, I miss you. And finally, the last one, the Nishibori family, if you're watching, I miss you too. Thank you for Kismet Rugs, always giving us one of the finest live auction items, which this time is a 6-foot by 9-foot from an area in Persia. Just so you know, it's known for actually having that medallion-like actual design in the middle. But what's incredible about this is that this area of Persia, there's actually a copper deposit. So that gets into the soil, which the sheep then eat the grass from. So guess what? Their wool that they produce is actually more firm and sturdier than any other area. So these carpets, they're not like any other. Those are the live auction items. Now, live auction, silent auction, buy it now. You have all the way through this Sunday, August 9th, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time, better known as midnight, to keep bidding. But what we're doing here today, that raffle, I'm announcing both winners at the end of this. And second of all, my favorite part of our live event, when we actually sponsor all our horses, of which our herd is now at 11 horses, all boys, and we're going to sponsor them live and open them up one at a time here for you at $3,500 to help with the cost. And then of course we'll do the cost of carrying. So that's pretty much all you need to know from me at this point, except for one last thing that I'll remind you at the end. While you're here on GiveSmart, when you give here today, if you're not going to keep participating all the way through Sunday, if you do that, we'll automatically close out your credit card for you. But if you're participating here today, remember to hit the Pay tab. That's right, it's kind of like shopping at Amazon. Pay tab, you'll get a text and an email with your receipt. Thank you, GiveSmart, for doing that for us. So for now you know exactly how to do it over this next hour. So now I'm going to toss back to Carrie to find out why we're doing it.
As you will hear tonight, this organization is all about possibilities realized, opening doors, ability, not disability. I'm speaking now with the director, Tori Fancher, about the challenges they're facing during the pandemic and how the organization is pivoting so they can continue to serve children, adults, and veterans. Hi, Tori.
Hi, Carrie. How are you?
So you're joining us from inside your indoor arena right now.
I am, and it is sweltering, let me tell you.
Can you talk first about how you have been navigating the pandemic? Obviously, everyone has been hit hard, especially nonprofit organizations like yours.
You know, I was actually on vacation when I found out that we were going to be closing our doors, and it was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments for me to realize that we were, sorry, I'm getting choked up a little, reliving that moment, but realizing that we may not be able to provide services the way that we traditionally do. And really having to take a step back from all of the chaos and think about what can we do to make this work? What can we do to continue reaching our people? And if you know anything about therapeutic riding, you know that it is our people that are our first and foremost concern. In the end, we really did pivot, and we used what we learned from our participants over the years, which is adapting to overcome obstacles.
What is so majestic about horses, and how does that tie into horse therapy?
So horses are non-judgmental creatures, and though they're very large in size, they just provide this level of comfort that is indescribable. And as you're working with the horse and you're overcoming your fears, you're also developing that confidence that you can control this large creature and you can become one with it, honestly. And together you are accomplishing a joint goal, and separately you cannot achieve that goal, but together you are defying odds. And it's just pretty incredible to see day in and day out the confidence, the strength, the independence, and the triumph in the arena. It's something that I look forward to every day.
You have some amazing quotes on your website, but one that I really love, and it says, it's Winston Churchill. It says, "There is something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man." And certainly you all live that experience every day.
We do. It's wonderful to see the things that our horses are able to bring out of our participants. The happiness, the joy, the living in the moment, and not thinking about all of the struggles day to day, but really just enjoying the present.
Can you tell me about the work that you all do with veterans? This is a cause that's near and dear to my heart, and I know it is for you as well.
Yeah, so we partner with another local nonprofit honoring our veterans, and we provide biannual trail rides for veterans from all across the nation. We also have a veteran program here for our local veterans, and we've worked closely with the American Legion to try to increase our outreach efforts, and that's constantly something that we're working towards, developing that program and getting the word out so that veterans from all over, especially those veterans here locally, know about our services. But currently, the biannual trail rides, those are probably the highlight of my year. And we are able to take veterans out on a trail ride in the national park, in Grand Teton National Park, and give them the opportunity to connect with their fellow servicemen and just relate and be at ease and be vulnerable and connect with the horse and just be in the present. And I think that time and time again, what I see from our horses is they provide us that opportunity to just be in the moment and experience life as it is meant to be experienced, with joy and happiness, and not getting caught up in those small little things that life throws at us that really are just not that important at the end of the day.
Can you tell us a little bit about the significance of the horse sponsorships?
Our horse sponsorships are so vital to our efforts. If you're a horse person, you know just how expensive horses are to maintain and care for. And without our horses, we simply don't have a program. And so we are committed to providing the most exceptional care possible. We treat them as we do the rest of our family and our team, with love and respect and kindness. And with your support and generosity as a horse sponsor, we are able to make sure that they are cared for day in and day out, receiving the vital nutrients, the conditioning and training to keep our participants safe, and to live a long and happy life so they can continue to serve our riders.
Absolutely amazing, Tori, and great interview, Carrie. Tori, I can't wait to see you in person again, and thank you for actually leading into this next part, which is the horse sponsorship. I know a lot of my Jackson Hole therapeutic riding family are out there because it's such an incredible community, and there's also some people that are probably watching this that have never actually been to the event. When you come out, and I hope you do come out, it's always in the beginning of August, one of the most fun things we do. Normally I'd have all these handsome horses you're about to see because they all are boys. Believe it or not, all 11 staff members are girls and all 11 horses are boys, and they make for quite the mix of a team. So what we do is we parade the horses through one at a time, and all my bidders line up, and it's a frenzy. It's the first hand that shoots up to actually sponsor the horse for a year, and we always create something. In the past, we've used the horse's tail hair and made keychains. We've actually used the horseshoes and brought them into to make them a decorative part for your home. But I think this year might be the most extraordinary that we've done. Remember, this is live. And that would be from Grace Peck. Grace Peck is a local artist and business owner in Jackson Hole. She actually took each one of our 11 horses and made a watercolor 5x7, which once we framed it, matted it in a beautiful wooden frame. It's a 9.5 by an 11.5 that we're going to ship to you. So your family will not only sponsor the horse for $3,500 for the upcoming 2020-2021 year, you will also actually have a keepsake to hand down to remind yourselves just how much you gave to so many people. So here's where we go. Normally they would come out walking some here, so I'm going to bring up pictures of our 11 incredible, what I call four-legged earth angels. The first one is going to be Dakota. Now the $3,500 that you're talking about is for vets, farriers, it's for hay, it's for grain, it's for supplements, and it is also to help board them when they're not working. These hard workers work about 7 months out of the year and they take 5 months off. So here we go. Normally, as soon as I start talking about a horse and we come out, a bunch of bids go up, a hand goes up, and they're sold, okay? So Dakota, let's talk about him. He is our longest reigning horse, meaning he's pretty much the old guy in the pack that's been here, and he certainly is the most seasoned and the most experienced. But here's what's most important about that, is that I want you to think about what it's like to have life in a wheelchair. For many people in a wheelchair, they're always seated down, meaning they look up. Oftentimes you can't always have the direction or choice of where you're going. So along comes the opportunity to interact with someone like Dakota. That means that you have an opportunity to suddenly be on top of the world, on top of a horse. You also have the actual autonomy of control, of controlling the horse to what direction you're going. This is a completely different perspective on life. Guess what? Dakota, 3,500, absolutely sponsored. Moving on, and that's our first of 11. Next up is going to be what I call the big man in the group, and that's Josh. Josh is actually enormous, and so a lot of people that come out have never really interacted with horses before, so he can be entirely huge and very intimidating. The issue is, though, he's the biggest goofball you'll ever meet, and that is absolutely true. He's hysterical, and that's really good because when people come out and they're intimidated by him and they see how funny he is, it helps make all the other horses a really easy transition to be around them. Also, just so you know, some of our riders are as young as 2 or 3, all the way up to 87. Bigger horse, sometimes for our bigger, actual and more adult participants, just like the veterans you heard about. So actually sponsoring him right now is coming up. And here's the thing about him, he makes an incredible partner. He's so good with it because, again, I want you to remember that when you're in a wheelchair or having difficulties like that, the horse's gait mimics that of a human gait. So when one of our participants is on that horse's back, they actually have the opportunity to feel what it's like to move, feel what it's like to walk, and think about what the horse is doing for them. So actually we have Josh right there. He's not been actually sponsored yet. I'm going to give you about another second before I go to another horse. Remember, I can revisit them, but I want you to know that Josh is an incredible member of our team. He is the largest member of our team and hands down the goofiest, and a great portrait that will go to you. After Josh, we're going to move on to Bo. Bo is what I call the actual goal horse. By the way, we just actually sponsored, did we just sponsor Josh? We did. We just sponsored Josh at 3,500. We have 2 of our 11 horses sponsored. Thank you so much for actually doing this. This is incredible. So let's get on to Bo. All right, so you have to remember that anyone that comes in with physical or intellectual disabilities, whether they're having behavioral issues, whether it's PTSD, occupational therapy, it's all about goals. Now, we have 200 plus volunteers that are the most amazing advocates at this incredible organization, and then our instructors. So for every time you'll have one instructor, 3 volunteers around someone on a horse to help them to make sure with balance, gait, and other issues. However, did we sell them? Nope, we haven't sold them yet. So I want you to understand this. A goal horse means that he's the horse that you'll be able one day to ride without any volunteers around you helping you. So a lot of our participants think, imagine the day where I'm in complete autonomy. Guess what? Bo just got sold out. 3,500, and Bo has now been sponsored. You're doing amazing. And I'm actually going to get a little emotional because the truth of the matter is this is one of the most fun parts that we do out in that field. And I hope some of you that don't know this yet come. So here comes Duke. By the way, Duke is the team player. Now, when I talked about the ladies and I talk about the horses, the versatility is what matters most. You have different backgrounds, different skill sets, and that's what allows us to service the wide variety of individuals we do. Duke is one of those people that is a team player. He absolutely is the most versatile, and P.S., he was the 2018 Horse of the Year. And as you can see by the incredible painting that Grace has done, you're going to get to have Duke in your house. By the way, Duke just got sponsored. This is actually pretty unbelievable, and I'm probably going to get choked up. Moving along from Duke is Henry. Henry is such a sweet horse. Henry actually is also another goal horse. So when we say goal horse, just like I talked about Bo, Henry's a goal horse, however, he's a little different. He's very patient, but he also knows where to push. See, the difference is that the synergy that happens between the horse and the rider, oftentimes the horse will know exactly what's going on within the feeling of the body of the rider. So sometimes when you have someone that's a goal horse, meaning they no longer have the 3 volunteers around them, and they're utilizing Henry, what Henry does is what is a little different than Bo. Henry knows when to push a little. In other words, he knows when his rider can go a little further towards their goal. So not only is he patient and sturdy, he knows when to push. He's an incredible teammate, and that's Henry. And Henry just got sponsored. We're going to keep on going. This is exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Captain. The name pretty much says exactly what he is. This is a guy that's ready for work all the time, and he's literally the leader of the pack. He is such a gentleman. He literally is just an all-around handsome, versatile, kind horse, but he's really sort of the leader. As if you could have a quarterback of the herd, it is Captain, and the name really actually appropriately suits him. And as you can see how handsome he is in his painting as well, that he is actually an incredible keepsake for you. We've done so well sponsoring all these horses. If there's someone out there, remember, Captain, working with individuals from as little as 2 or 3, helping them all the way up through 87 years old. And another thing that happens, not only are these horses doing that, but when you come out, there's a program called Making Memories. Do you have someone in your family that maybe you think would be left out when you went to somewhere like Jackson Hole and the family goes riding, and maybe someone with disabilities can't? Not with Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding. You can make sure that that making memory includes you too, and people like Captain. I call them people because they really are angels on earth. Captain is actually part of that. So Captain hasn't been sponsored yet, but we'll see what happens as I keep moving on. After Captain, we're going to go into our next horse, which is Taco. Okay, Taco's a crowd favorite because we actually are going to talk about the pivot, not divot. Taco actually became our favorite to use when we went into safe social distance, one family at a time, all in masks, in outdoor, not riding, but petting. Because guess what? Taco seems to think he might have been a dog in his former life. He'll stand wherever you actually need him to stand, and he will just let you pet him for hours on end. And it's an amazing opportunity for those families that can't come participate to actually have a chance to go out and just spend time with the horse, be outside. I want you to think about the stresses you felt with your own family members and perhaps children at home. Now put someone with special needs in the house. And what about some of the frustrations that you're having? You want more to do. Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding and their horses are pivoting to continue to support each and every client that they have. So right now I still have Taco up for it, and I still need Captain sponsored. So those are 2 horses that we still need sponsorships at $3,500 a piece to continue to help to absorb the cost so that we can keep bringing this incredible life-changing mission, which really is to give therapy, to give adaptability, what we could all learn about what we can do, not what we can't. After Taco, we're going to keep going. We've got 2 that still need to be crowd favorite, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's been around for a while now, and actually if we had sort of People Magazine's Sexiest Horse Alive, the reason he just actually got, Captain just got sponsored. Thank you for Captain. Taco's still looking for it, but I'm actually back talking about Charlie Brown, because like I said, if People Magazine had Sexiest Horse of the Year, this is it. He wins Best Looking Horse. He also has a temperament for what is a hydraulic lift. So we use a hydraulic lift, and when I say we, it's because I've been out to actually volunteer and help with this, and these people are my family. I miss them so much this year. But I have to tell you that a hydraulic lift, if you think about the sounds for someone that cannot have the ability to mount a horse, this particular horse, Charlie Brown, is really great. Taco is too, and remember about that mixed team, but he's actually great at actually being really good and steady and not freaked out by the sounds of the hydraulic lift, to put a rider on top of them and give them the view of being on top of the world. Change their perspective. Help us to sponsor these horses. This is Charlie Brown, 3,500. We're doing so well on this, so if you're out there, Charlie Brown needs your help. Moving on from Charlie Brown, let's go to the next horse, BUCKWHEAT. BUCKWHEAT used to be a movie star. He was actually in 3 movies, and he's a very sensitive horse. This is why that's important. There's so many different types of individuals that we serve through Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, and some actually have issues with what I've come to know as sensory processing disorder, where you're very overstimulated, and oftentimes, particularly in classrooms, that can end up being disruptive behavior. So if you're coming in overstimulated like that, this horse is sensitive. If you get on a horse that's sensitive, they become a mirror to the rider. So you realize that the horse is agitated if you're agitated. As you learn to calm the horse, you learn to calm yourself. So what happens to somebody that might be disruptive in a classroom given 1 hour of calm? 1 hour of calm on a horse. That's what BUCKWHEAT is best known for. And by the way, Taco has actually been sponsored. We have 2 here at Charlie Brown, and we also have our BUCKWHEAT. Moving along from BUCKWHEAT, we're going to keep going here. 2 socks. Okay. You can't tell in this picture, but his 2 hind legs actually look like he has 2 socks on. But this is a guy who has a dirty nose every day, and he is a trickster. He is literally up to no good all the time. So here's one of my favorite stories that I got a couple days ago from one of the instructors. They actually do things like, think about being on the back of the horse, okay? Who just got? Charlie Brown just actually got sponsored. Taco just got sponsored. BUCKWHEAT's still looking for a home, and 2 socks. So let me tell you what he did. They have an exercise where they have duckies inside a little pool, and they go over to help them learn to fish. You know, learning about imagine sitting on the back of a horse doing that. Well, this little trickster knows that. You've got 3 volunteers, you've got an instructor, you've got a thing of water, and someone fishing for duckies. What does he do? He puts his nose in there and sprays everybody with water and makes your rider in hysterics. He is the class clown. That's 2 socks, $3,500, and you get a painting of our class clown with his dirty nose. Moving on from 2 socks right now, and just so you know, that you actually have 2 socks just actually got done now. Wow, all we have not actually done right now is BUCKWHEAT, and we're going on to RODGER. Now, RODGER is the penultimate of what the goal is. Just so you know what happens in the ring and in the programs, and we have over 260 participants and 2,000. We actually just got BUCKWHEAT done, and actually now we're just at RODGER. So let me tell you something about this, because this is the goal. One of our riders has gone on to secondary education to actually learn about equine management. Another one that's been riding since being just itty-bitty has gone on to actually using equestrian as a way of life, meaning wanting to learn to jump. This is the ultimate goal horse. RODGER is the horse that when you've come advanced far enough, you can learn to jump. When the whole idea of horsemanship is going to become a way of life. RODGER is our last horse. See, live TV. But I'm going to tell you something. We have 10 of them. All I need is 1 sponsor for RODGER right now, and you have raised $38,500, sponsored all 11 horses. Do I find a kind-hearted sponsor out there for RODGER to see if we have been sold out? Because right now, 10 of my 11 horses live, right here, opening one at a time, have been sponsored, just like when we're in front of our favorite fans, all inside the tent, and the frenzy goes, and everyone actually gets it. You're going to get Grace Peck's incredible painting of RODGER. He is our last horse. Do we have someone here on RODGER to sponsor him? He is our last bit. I don't want to leave him here because we're going this. So last chance at RODGER before we move on to our last part. But if there is a loving, caring home that wants to actually go to RODGER, I want to give you a chance before I bring up one last part, which is something known as in loving memory. So Many of you might remember Roscoe. Roscoe served incredibly for 6 years in this organization. And just so you know, these horses, like I said, Buckwheat was in the movies. We had a reining horse. This was actually a pack horse. They've had whole lives before they come and decide to give their time 6 years in service to others. Now, Roscoe passed away in December of 2019, so we created an opportunity for you to have a painting of him if you're one of our many family members that might remember Roscoe's incredible work in the community. We also want you to know that when you sponsor that, we're going to use that money towards the purchase we need 4 more horses. Our herd of 11 needs to go to 15. So last chance again, if anyone wants to have the painting in loving memory of Roscoe, you'll help us purchase a new member of our team. And of course, Roger, who is the ultimate goal for any rider to learn to jump, is the one that has not yet been sponsored. So as we continue, I want you to let you know that at this time you can continue to jump in and do that. I'll check in and find out if you did that. But most importantly, I want to thank every single person here that has jumped in to sponsor those horses, because you're being incredibly generous. So that is it for our horse sponsorship. Now, just so you know, if for any reason, because I know our screens for some of you actually locked up for a second, if for any reason that in loving memory or for Roger, what happened? We actually just got in loving memory of Roscoe has actually just been sponsored, which means just Roger. Remember, Roger is the ultimate goal for all our riders that want to go on to a life of horsemanship, meaning learning to jump and possibly going on to outside of the Jackson Hole Therapeutic Ring, education in equine management, and having a life that involves all of the horses as a way of sports, a way of actual being vibrant and a part of life. Last chance for Roger, 1 horse out of 11. Plus our 12th, which will be to buy a new horse, is the last sponsorship. It's going to go once and it's going to go twice. And if it doesn't happen, you'll have all the way through Sunday night at midnight in Jackson Hole, that's Mountain Time, to make sure Roger gets sponsored. Remember, this is live. I don't use notes. I don't have a teleprompter. This is me just talking to you. And I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you, and I'm thanking you. That was probably one of the most successful horse sponsorships. We have 1 less horse, Roger, but in the meantime, we're going to find out a little bit more here now from one of my favorite members of the family of Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, and that is actually our board president. It's now time to hear from my friend, Nikki McDermott.
Thanks, Letitia, and thanks to all of you for your ongoing support of our mission. I'm Nikki McDermott, board president of Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding. For 28 years, we've been empowering abilities, and that's what makes me so proud to be part of this organization. We're committed and equipped to serve children and adults facing a wide variety of life challenges, including muscular dystrophy, ADD, ADHD, autism, PTSD, Down syndrome, cancer, stroke, emotional disorders, and learning disabilities, just to name a few. Part of what brings me back to the arena day after day and season after season is seeing the relationships that are developed here. Without the trust between the horses, the riders, instructors, and volunteers, none of this hard work would be possible. And it's a little bit like a family out here in that some days you can see that our horses are really challenging our riders and they're struggling. And some days it just is so much fun that you can't even tell there's work involved. But either way, there's tons and tons of growth happening. And I think that's what keeps all of us involved and participating in this organization. And now a bit more about our mission, which is driven by love and all that's possible.
Kind, calm, an innate ability to connect. At Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, our horses offer a variety of traits that help each participant achieve their individual development goals. Together, horses and riders forge an unmistakable bond. That's what makes equine therapy so empowering.
Anytime you have a relationship with an animal, magic happens. And then when you have an organization like this one with experts leading the decision making, I think the sky's the limit.
But it's everyone here that makes this program possible. From our hardworking horses and inspiring participants to our dedicated employees and volunteers, to our generous donors. Each one plays a part in enriching the lives of thousands.
Our ultimate goal is to work towards maximizing our riders' potential. So day in and day out, we are giving these riders the opportunity to develop life skills to succeed in the real world. We serve individuals of all ages with varying types of disabilities, whether that be Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, or something as invisible as a behavioral or emotional disability.
Empowerment is at the heart of our program. Instructors and therapists work with the entire caregiving team to ensure the work done in the arena addresses challenges participants face day to day. For 3-year-old Jaden, that means helping him to express himself verbally.
Jaden began riding with us this year, and he was unable to communicate verbally with those around him. And so his way of expressing himself was through bursts of anger.
No words, nothing. I mean, he just got on the horse and just rode the horse, and that was what I remember. That was about it. And then as the sessions came up, he's improved tremendously, you know. Go.
That's you. Go. Let's go.
From not saying a word on the horse to saying go, stop, some words in Spanish I could hear him say, so gracias, thank you. You know, just seeing that progress has been, it feels great, you know.
From an outside perspective, it's those baby steps, but to Jaden, those few words will soon become multiple words, which will become sentences, which will become a life changed.
From identifying colors and numbers, to building core strength, to instilling self-worth, this program is not simply about learning to ride a horse. It's about instilling the skills, abilities, and confidence to thrive every day.
The biggest difference I've noticed is her language and her vocabulary, and I think a lot of that has been in her all of this time, but for her to be able to get it out and use it is the biggest change. Physically, her coordination and her strength is incredible now. I never really thought I would see her catching up to her peers with strength and playing at the playground and running, and she's definitely catching up.
Miracles happen every day at the Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding Arena. Individuals young and old discover strength, confidence, and pride in themselves. Every milestone achieved, fear conquered, and obstacle overcome is worth celebrating. And when those victories transcend the arena gates and carry over into their daily lives, a world of possibility unfolds.
If you can imagine, a lot of our riders, they're told that they can't do something, or they believe that they can't simply because they're living in this world where they see able-bodied individuals, individuals walking, individuals talking, individuals communicating in whatever fashion. They begin to believe that they can't do certain things. And here at the arena, they can. As they're up on that horse and the horse is moving, they're not only given a new perspective, they're also given the opportunity to experience the world as the rest of us are.
This program wouldn't be possible without a team of compassionate volunteers. Whether volunteering on a weekly basis or substituting when their schedules permit, these selfless individuals give their time to make these services possible.
I think part of the reason she loves it are the people that she works with at Therapeutic Riding. They're awesome. It's gonna make me cry. All of the people at Therapeutic Riding have just been amazing and have treated Ellie like she's just as amazing. And they've been wonderful.
Throughout our program's nearly 30-year history, people have always been the top priority. This year, with the nation facing the challenges of COVID-19, our commitment to those who make this program possible is more vital than ever. As the world faces unprecedented times, your support is more crucial than ever. Through your support and generosity, Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding will remain a place of strength, laughter, and inspiration for
And we have some breaking news because Roger just got sponsored by Fran Bielchini. Fran, thank you so much. So while we were watching that, and I hope you're enjoying it, I want to just tell you who is sponsoring each horse. Dakota, Eileen Prue, thank you so much. She's actually the mother of one of our incredible board members. Josh is being sponsored by Tim Kelly, and actually our incredible announcer, Tim, I miss you. I can't wait to see you next year. Bo is also sponsored by Tim Kelly. Tim is actually snatching up a lot of these horses. By the way, he has the voice that is literally the best velvet voice of a polo match announcer ever. Duke is actually by Nicole Sheehan. She is a supporter, and her daughter is actually one of our volunteers, which is incredible. Henry is done by Fran Bielchini, who is also actually taken, as you heard, Roger, Bank of Jackson. Bank of Jackson Hole and Crown sponsor. That's one of our big ones. Fran, thank you. Captain was taken by Toby Bielchini, who is our board member. I love Toby. I miss you very much, and incredible moral support for program and volunteers. Taco was also taken by Toby. Thank you, Toby. I can't wait to see you again. Charlie Brown by Beth McCoy, who's one of our most amazing volunteers. Buckwheat by Laura Oppler, who's a former board member. Laura, I hope to see you again soon. And Two Socks by Colleen Murray, who's a board member who began as a volunteer and still volunteers. Roger, as we said, is by Fran, and Roscoe in loving memory of Christy Yanelli, who is actually one of our instructors at Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding. So there we go. Eileen Prue is a board member, and she is an incredibly active board member. So here we go. This is the portion where we switch into what's known as the cost of caring. And by the way, you just successfully raised $42,000 and sponsored each of the 11 horses and gave the funds towards the honor of Roscoe to purchase another. So now let's get down to what this is really about. In this portion, on a normal year without all the adversity and COVID-19 that we've been facing and the many pivots that you'll hear about, these are the cost of what it actually takes to run a program like this. This is a program with 260 plus participants. They're seen multiple times by the instructors, and so it's about 3,000 of those sessions that's offered. The horses work from about late April all the way to the end of October, about 7 months. They then actually have their other period that they have the time off. Just so you know, there's a staff of 11, as I mentioned, 11 fabulous women, 11 amazing horses. Not one of the staff members, and thanks so much to the incredible board members, the community members, and the leadership of my friend Tori and our incredible board, no one was laid off. No one lost their job, and they pivoted. So I'm going to tell you not only about what the cost of caring is and give you some different denominations, I'm going to tell you about what's really going on because they have not stopped servicing every single person that they always did. So here we go. The first denomination is $25,000, and I know that sounds like a lot of money, but here's why I start with it. Because you have to understand something. The annual budget for this actual operation is about $620,000. Almost 65%, sometimes 50% to 65%, comes from this event, from Stomping the Divots. And here we are. We couldn't stomp the divots, so we're in a virtual space with you. And you've been willing to come here with us because that's what we need to keep servicing. So even though we don't charge what it would actually take to complete a session, we actually have 72% of those riders I told you about are on some sort of scholarship or some sort of method of a free or reduced rate. So even that though, if you take away all of the sessions we can't do right now, that's a loss of about $21,000. 25 would help to make up for that loss. In addition to that, although we would have charged minimal amounts to have those sessions, we've completely pivoted into a virtual space with curriculums that can be done for both our beginners and our advanced, and I'll get more into that at the end, without charging a dime. We do incur a cost to create those, and of course there is the upkeep of the arena and the entire facility to have repairs. That's $25,000. Now, as you're doing this, I'm going to keep actually looking over here because we're looking right now is that we just got Fran Bielchini, which we just talked about, and her daughter, Christy Yanelli, and they're actually, again, from our Crown sponsorship, they just contributed a combined amount of $10,000. Thank you both, ladies. I really can't wait till we can actually be together in person to thank you. So as that number keeps climbing, and you can see, please, there's been lots of people on here. David and Leslie Hardy at 500. We have Adrian Henderson at 25 and Ashley Henderson at 10. That's incredible to give that amount of money. And so every dollar counts. So what happens when we move to the $10,000 increment? Well, this is when I want to tell you one of the programs that involves actually our Teton County, because that's where Jackson Hole is, the Teton County School District. You have elementary, middle school, and high school, as well as what they call transitional out of high school to help those that are in special ed programs. Now, when they're in those programs, equine therapy is an incredible, incredible partnership to helping them through their schooling. So in combination with the school district, but at a cost, and about half of this amount of money, $10,000 to Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, they're bussed out to the facility. They're offered 2 hours. 1 hour is on a horse, 1 hour is actually in a classroom, taking everything you learned on the horse and applying it toward the classroom and toward life. That's one of the many expenses that we continue to actually move forward in our programming as the diversity of who we serve. That's the $10,000 mark. And just so you know, an anonymous just gave $100 to contribute to each team. We've had teams that have been out there sponsoring, and someone actually just gave it to all our teams. Thank you so much. Moving on from that 10,000, what about 5,000? You know, I can't say enough about Tori and her team. So just so you know, in a typical setting, in order to become an accredited equine therapy, you only need one PATH certified instructor, PATH. That is actually the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship International. It is probably the most elite of any type of certification you can get. You only need one on your staff. 90% of the staff is PATH certified at Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, and the other 10% are in the process of being certified. That means that they have the best of the best. They also have tremendous amount of continuing education, licensing, and a non-stop ability to stay that accredited, to stay ahead of the curve. Because what they're learning is twofold. You're learning about the most cutting-edge therapies that are within the disabled community, but in order to make everybody more ability, but you're also learning about what's more cutting-edge within the equine world as well. PATH, that's huge. From there, we go to $2,500. Now, you saw the veterans earlier in the video when Tori was talking about it. You know, any veteran that comes to Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding actually does not get charged ever, but they're in partnership with Honoring Veterans, which actually takes veterans from all over the different parts of the country, brings them to Jackson Hole. First of all, if you haven't been to Jackson Hole, the first time I stepped off a plane, I announced it at their event. This is God's country. It's amazing. What an incredible experience. Well, the cost is actually incurred half also by Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding to create those trail rides so they can bond like that. That's $2,500. The other thing is I talked about the fact of scholarships. When a full scholarship for a rider is 83 lessons, 83 sessions without costing a rider a dime. 5 people can have that for $2,500. And now we have Alexa Amon. Oh, Alexa just gave $10,000. Passionate supporter whose life was changed by working with horses. Alexa, thank you so much. Toby, one of my favorite people in the world, gave $10,000, board member and a volunteer and a part of Jackson Hole. And of course, one of my favorite people who has actually been a board member, she's a polo player herself. She's actually a main part of the team for actually being and putting on this event, and an auxiliary member is Renee White. Renee and Dudley White just gave $25,000. Renee, I miss you. And I hope that next year we get a chance to just simply sit down and talk together, possibly even a hug, because I don't think you realize how much you miss someone until you're actually in the midst of doing this. Renee and Dudley, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, your generosity has been amazing, and as we move into these lower denominations, please know that every dollar counts, and Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding does amazing things at accountability and taking every dollar and stretching it as far as it'll go. So $1,000, let's talk about some of the equipment. I've actually seen it. The type of saddles that they actually use, those are adaptive saddles. Those are $1,000 per saddle, which is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm going to go into something that's a little personal for me. The family of Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding has stood by me through death in my family, through being hit by a car and suffering a brain injury, and they know that I went through occupational therapy simply to learn to do the everyday daily things in my life again. I personally had to do it in a room, learning how to put balls in what cup and what color. Imagine being able to get on a horse, occupational therapy, and knowing what different color rings go in this, so that you can learn the succession of A to B to C. When you enter a classroom, you hang your backpack, you sit on the chair, you take out your books. Occupational therapy, extremely successful. This is all at the $1,000 level. $500, just so you know. Now, for this example, what you might consider a toy, Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, at $500, a basketball, those duckies I mentioned, those aren't toys. They're actually the equipment that's necessary to take what's utilized by the horses, having people use them for their agility, their balance, their sensory, and so much more. So Laura Oppler, as a former board member, just heard me say that and gave $2,500. Laura, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in person again. And of course, Nicole Sheehan gave $2,500. And just so you know, on that year where I did have a death in my family, my dear friend and colleague Eve Rojas went out and actually pinched hit and did this event for me. Said it was the greatest event she ever did. She just gave $100. Evie, I love you. So we're going from there, from the cost of carrying of $500 to $250. And don't think that any one of these denominations actually don't mean just as much. Because here's the deal. The actual true cost of one session, if you were to break it down for Jackson Hole therapeutic riding, is $300. But not one rider is asked to pay for that. The most that we ever ask any rider to pay for a session is $30. But you know what? Because 72% of them are on some sort of scholarship or actual abated or adjusted income that we're trying to help them with, mostly it's about $10 or $15. It's incredible. But your gift can allow us to offset that cost. And you know what? We got to keep the lights on, plain and simple. That's the cost of that. Which brings me down to the denomination that I've always said the best thing about virtuals is that we can reach thousands of people. In fact, my first virtual back in April hit 6,000 people in 10 countries. Think about that. 6,000 people give you $100, it's a lot. So anyone at the lower denominations, don't think that it's any less powerful, because it's 2 helmets. The safety of our riders is something so incredibly important to us, but I want to take it a step further. I want to talk about what's really going on in the pivot, not divot, this year. So when I asked Tori, because here's the thing, the relationship formed between those that are served at Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, the relationship between the community, the relationship from the board members, this is family. And it's family to me as well. So what they did is they actually didn't want to stop servicing them. So they created videos. They'll take a video with a horse, just like you would see in the many different therapies that these PATH certified instructors do. Then they actually adjust it into 2 groups, a beginning group and an advanced group, just like I told you about the goal horses and the beginning horses. And they send home a curriculum that matches everything they just learned. Posture on a horse, rules being around a horse, all of that then, if those same words are put into, say, a crossword puzzle, you go and find those. They found a way to take the curriculum that they use to make magic in a ring and bring it into a virtual space where the video involving the horse actually comes out, and so does the classroom. Mark Barron, a former Jackson Hole mayor. Oh, I know Mark. Social activist, local business owner, Patricia and Scott Bossel, longtime supporters. Every single staff and board member have made a donation. Every single one of them. Getting donations right now from Washington, Houston, Texas, Michigan. This is the power. Oh, I get a little choked up. This is the point. We will gather under a tent in Jackson Hole for what is possibly one of the most incredible events. And every year for me, it's a benchmark. It's a benchmark to come back to a place, to a family. But the point is, if this is your first time watching this, come join us. Come join us. It's always in the beginning of August, and I promise you, your life will be changed. Deb Ward is the mother of executive director who's getting donations as far away as New Hampshire. I want to say to our teams out there, you've done an amazing job at actually bringing so many people in. So remember, the cost of caring, okay, still stays open all the way through Sunday. That's the 9th of August at 11:59, better known as midnight in Jackson Hole time. So does actually the silent auction, the live auction, and the buy it now. Now the things that we're going to move on to do live, they're going to be me actually announcing a raffle winner, and of course we just sponsored all those horses. So keep that coming, and just so you know, you can see those dollars actually coming in. I'm going to be announcing more totals as we go. But most importantly, thank you. I know that I stand literally behind saying that this is probably my favorite event of the year. But it's not just because it's in Jackson Hole. It's not just a polo match. It's not just the people and the riders that we see, the riders of the year. It's the people behind this organization. You are family to me. And I thank you for being so supportive over the years through many different adversities in my own life and my children's, but most importantly, thank you for being you. We will continue on now, but while you've heard from us the cost of caring, who more to tell you what exactly the magic of Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding is than the testimonials from the people they serve themselves.
From my perspective as both a parent and as a pediatrician, the benefits are multi-level. Madeline, of course, is learning about her own body, about her body in space. Her body's getting stronger.
Lexi is 6 years old now. We've done therapeutic riding for 2 summers before this summer, and we found that she gained a lot of confidence in herself from working with the horses and working with the staff. She's gained a lot of strength and working through some anxiety of working with a big animal, but she really loves animals and seems to connect well with them, and that's been a gift for us.
Riding's given our family the opportunity to see Ellie thrive and to cheer her on instead of her always watching her brothers or her mom and dad doing something. This is something that just Ellie does, and we all get to watch her.
My favorite ride horses because I love to stable on a horse, get my heel up, and that really helps my balance on a horse, and also I love to run with my horses.
The level of research that the staff does before we even get here, the level of care from a medical point of view, before we even get here, I have not seen it in any other program. And she's 20 years now, so she's been in a couple of different programs. This place is a jewel, honestly, and it should be what other places strive to be.
You know, everything good begins with a dream and a plan. And the 3 founders of this organization, they had both. 28 years ago, Dee Dee McDonald, Elaine Infanger, and Robin Leitner came together with a common cause to change lives through a connection to horses and therapeutic riding. They knew the value in this. Elaine's daughter, Emily, was born prematurely and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Dee Dee was a physical therapist at the Children's Learning Center, and Robin was a horse aficionado. Together, they made a perfect, powerful, and focused team. Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding has come a long way from its humble beginnings. With over 250 annual participants, 11 horses, and countless volunteers, this remarkable program has found its way into the hearts of so many. And JHTR has become one of the most well-known and respected nonprofits in Jackson and has also gained national recognition. Letitia, all thanks to these 3 women who saw the possibilities and had the heart to make it happen.
Thank you, Carrie, so much. And I just love the story of the ladies, because you know what? It's a good thing to learn for us right now to understand that out of adversity, something so beautiful can come that services so many. So right now, just so you know, we're about $223,000 and climbing, and still able to go all the way through Sunday night at midnight Jackson Hole time to continue to climb towards our goal, which truthfully is at $400,000. Wouldn't that be amazing? So just so you know, again, I told you that a couple things we were doing live. You did all 11 horses plus the honoree horse, of which we honored Roscoe. And so now I'm going to tell you who won each trip. So actually going to our trip to Key West, Florida, the winner is Charles Keller. Charles Keller has won the trip to Key West, a trip for 4 of you. Thank you to the Moore family for giving their personal condo. That's going to be a week-long fantastic trip in Key West. And Mexico is William Miller. Congratulations. Those are your 2 winners right here live while I'm standing here, randomly picked by a computer and sent through from GiveSmart. Incredible opportunities. But remember that I mentioned a Buy It Now section. Well, there's a trip to Scottsdale. Guess where I am filming from right now? Phoenix, Arizona. You have all the way on all of our trips to March of 2022 to take them. So if you didn't win the raffle, there is a trip to actually the Maya Riviera on there and a trip to Scottsdale that are worth over $3,000. You can snap up for $2,500. Also, just so you want to know, too, our live auction. Let's take a look at this. There were 2 items with no bid. My favorite item has no bid. The Sonoma Mission Inn in Sonoma in the wine country is one of the top top Fairmont properties in the world. There are no bids on a 3-night, 4-day actual trip with $350 to spend at the hotel, breakfast daily, and a 5-hour wine tour in a Mercedes. Also on top of that, my Kismet rug, my Nishibori family. There is no higher quality in a Persian carpet than this particular family. That is a 6x9 as you continue to bid all the way through Sunday night at midnight. Now, I do have some bids. Oh, wait, we just got a bid on the Kismet Fine rug. That's amazing. Duke, we're gonna go back to that other screen if I can see all the bids. Let's check in real quick so we know that America's Cup has a bid of $3,000, okay? After America's Cup, we're gonna actually go down to the Peloton is at $2,000. Superior Wine has no bids. Who doesn't wanna go to Sonoma? That's my trip I wanna go on. Family Fiesta in Mexico at $2,500. You also have Judith's Painting that's up to $2,000 and $2,200 bid on that rug. You have all the way till midnight this Sunday, August 9th, Jackson Hole time. Keep bidding. Share this link. Oh, did we just get it? Superior Wine Country just got a bid, ladies and gentlemen. That means that all of you have opening bids and continuing to climb. This will be recorded. It will stay on this site. Share it with your friends. This has been incredible. I hope you learned a lot about the magic, the people behind Jackson Hole Therapeutic Riding, and most importantly, the people they serve. I look forward to seeing you all again next year, but thank you for joining me in the virtual space because we truly did pivot, not divot, and still made an incredible impact. And while this is the end of my time here live with you, I would like to say thank you. And again, continue to give, continue to bid, and most importantly, stay healthy, stay happy, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Carrie, back to you.
Thank you so much, Letitia, and we want to thank all of you for helping us empower ability. No matter what the age or what the challenge, there is always hope. And this program is a great example of that. We want to leave you now with images of some of the riders of the year who have inspired all of us. Thanks for watching.